If they beat me to the door, I'll put 'em under the floor. Keep my skillet good and greasy all the time. Keep my skillet.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Welcome inside the game. This is Around for Terrible, Terrible Damage, bringing you some exciting Reddit Dota 2 League action. These are Raiders of the Lost Slark up against Well Played from the GMT group, Alchemist. These two having some struggles in the first half of the season. Raiders of the Lost Slark coming into this one 0-1-3. Showing that they can hang and bang, but not quite finding the victory, sitting at 3 points. Well Played 0-3-1, having a much tougher time. 1 point in the standings and effectively eliminated from playoff contention, but they can play spoiler here. Raiders of the Lost Slark could really use a win to bring themselves back in the mix here. Well Played not going to go down without a fight. Going to pick up an Alchemist first up for Raiders of the Lost Slark. You know, has that meteoric rise, has a lot of flexibility, and those are the heroes that tend to slowly move up and then stay at the top. Speaking of which, flexibility, Gyrocopter and Darkseer, a couple more that can do so. One thing I will say is Darkseer, though, you can move him around, but generally he pretty much getting him means defensive tri-lane. He's your off-laner, may move to the jungle, may not even bother with the off-lane. But that's normally it for him. Once in a blue moon, you'll see him in towards mid because he can do it. But normally, since he can get, you know, just as good farming levels out of the jungle or off lane, it's not really worth it. Gyrocopter, along with the Darkseer, shows we want that team fight combo. Vacuum call down. We'll see if they continue with the theme or if they want to fill in some other holes, like more reliable lockdown and maybe a bit stronger laning presence. However, Raiders of the Lost Slark go a different direction. They've got the Alchemist for the late game. Nature's Prophet to throw in some split push, perhaps trying to circumvent that team fight altogether, seeing what's coming out of Well Played. The band so far, OD and Weaver banned out by the Lost Slark. Io and Batrider are the bans coming out of Well Played, and then Jakiro is first up in the second round of bans, and Shadow Demon for Well Played. Well Played being the second pick will have first pick in the second phase. This is because the first pick gets first and last pick. So it switches up in order here. You'll see them get a ban and then immediately a selection. Both sides lacking for supports right now. You know, Alchemist and Gyrocopter pop up once in a while as support heroes, but most often you're going to see them in that standard one-role carry position. Alchemist shows up both of them also show up a bit in mid as well. But until there's some other indication, going to assume they're going to be playing the safe lane carry. And then Visage banned out by Raiders of the Lost Slark and Bane by Well Played. Visage makes me wonder if they want to go aggressive trial lane. It can be difficult up against a Gyrocopter, but Alchemist quite strong. Unstable Concoction can do a lot of damage to charge up AoE stun. The only downside is Alchemist actually a little surprisingly squishy early on. He's not necessarily the tankiest right out of the gate. He picks up very quickly, but at level 1, not necessarily the tankiest or the most dangerous in right clicks, but the Concoction especially can do a lot of damage. Naga Siren has transitioned nicely in the metagame into her role as a support hero. Expect to see that here, and that's the first support we're going to be seeing picked up by either side. And once again, we're seeing more complement to that team fight composition. They'll have the Song of the Siren to initiate the setup and perfectly align that vacuum and call down. But what they really need to see here is the call down takes some time. So while you can time it up to get perhaps even both hits if you do it perfectly, something like an AoE stun to combine up with the vacuum is what I want to see personally. It doesn't have to be Magnus, like that's overkill and doesn't really fit, doesn't necessarily that might be too much and not help out as much for what they need, considering they have Darkseer and Naga Siren already. But Nyx Assassin is still available. For example, Impale over at top can get everybody. That could work just fine. Even a more of a skill shot stun Slark or Lena with the Split Earth. Sean Connery, Split Earth. Oh, that was the worst impression ever. I'm never doing that again. Split Earth or Light Strike Array. Just some sort of AoE stun to lock them in place. Doesn't have to be flashy, doesn't have to be Tidehunter Ravage. But if you just vacuum them in and then they run away, well, unless you time that call down perfectly, they'll be able to, they could potentially avoid a lot of that damage. Into reserve time now for Well Played. Once again, they'll need most likely a mid and a secondary support to combine up with Naga. As mentioned, Nyx Assassin's still in the pool, perhaps not wanting two melee supports though, so maybe that's where, say, Slark would fit in a little better. Or Lion if you're looking for a similar stun out of a ranged support. It's also some nuke damage, which they don't have a whole lot of instant burst right now. Timbersaw, there's some burst damage for you. That's going to be their mid, a third melee, but that's just fine. He's not going to be playing the support role. And it will also help out with with plenty of AoE damage as well. I like it. He adds more of a dynamic nature to what is otherwise this plotting 5-man that wants to hit the combo and nothing else. Didn't say a whole lot about the Rubik, but my god, what a game for Rubik. He's got what can he steal that's bad? I guess flat cannon will not be the most useful for him, and then that's pretty much it. Whirling Death, he doesn't necessarily want to get that close, but man, you cannot go wrong. Riptide, Illusions, Ensnare, Vacuum, Surge, Ion Shell, Wall of Replica, Call Down, even Rocket Barrage and Homing Missile, all great. And I honestly think that would be a better choice than that Bane ban. Curiously enough, out of all of this, Lifestealer's still available. I also had to double check and see Nyx Assassin's still available. Nyx fallen off a little in the meta, still shows up quite a lot. Lifestealer's remained up top. There's Lena, so not going to go to Well Played for that one. The heroes on Well Played, kind of tanky actually. Gyrocopter not so much, but you've got Darkseer, Naga Siren, Timbersaw, all tough to bring down. Final ban from Well Played, Queen of Pain not wanting to have their Timber run up against that. Final ban coming up before last picks. And Slark, so there's another one. Raiders not going to be able to grab. So right now, Lion is the one that stands out to me. You know, a nice AoE stun from a ranged support. Not the flashiest, but would still fit the bill quite well. Doesn't have a whole lot to be afraid of. It's not like some games where you have a lot more pick-off potential and you just can't be a part of the fight. We'll see what they end up going in for. If we look at their lockdown right now, they only have Ensnare. There's a mini stun from Vacuum, there's a homing missile from Gyrocopter, and that's it for stuns. So aside from, of course, the Song of Siren, I feel they could really use another reliable stun. As mentioned, an AoE to fit in, combine up with that Vacuum. 2 seconds, and they go with Ancient Apparition, so they do just go for more team fight. There's Cold Feet, but again, not a reliable stun, so I'm a little worried in that regard right now. That just, It's not that it can't work, it just makes it a little more difficult. And then the final pick, Puck. Very solid, rounded lineup out of Raiders of the Lost Slark. Very standard, I'd say. And well played, throwing in more new meta, a little more experimental, and a lot more basis around one idea, and that is team fight. So we'll see how it works out for them. Say at this point, hopefully you'll bear with me if there maybe is a little more dead air here and there, or if my voice starts to go. Been a little ill. Been a tough summer. It's just been slightly ill all summer. It's been a pain. But could not miss out on this. As we have Raiders of the Lost Slark ready to go up against Well Played, just waiting for the timer to run out and for us to get into the game.
5 seconds remaining.
And there we go. First up, Dire, that will be Well Played. Introducing first, they have their captain, will be playing on the Dark Seer, Bad Fetus. He'll be... Actually looks like he's built for mid, in fact. Then we have the Ancient Apparition, played by Underix. Headed instead to the offlane will be their stand-in, Richard Nixon Assassin. I will not be hooked. I am off today. I blame my voice. Soldaku. Another stand-in playing the Naga Siren. And then up top, we've got Kirkiki on the Gyrocopter. All four moving out. Got to ward up at the rune spot. A ping up on the other high ground. Maybe that's where they wanted instead, but too late for that now. A spot out Arch as they'll go through the Raiders of the Lost Slark lineup for Radiant. Arch, as mentioned, is on the Lena, not Havost, preferring to go by Silva, as mentioned pre-game, is playing Alchemist. Their stand-in, Tealtonic, will be playing the Rubik. In toward mid, the Puck will be played by Banan. And finally, Typhoon is your Nature's Prophet. As we have an early pause here. So let's take a look at what everyone's starting with and how these lanes have shaped up. This is a bizarre aggressive trial lane, if that is in fact what they're going for. We've got Cold Feet start off from Ancient Apparition, who's got a sentry on him. He dropped one here on the high. Where did he drop that? Oh, to block the camp. Soldaku's got the other obs still on him. Has not skilled as of yet. Then Richard Nixon Assassin. Just tanking up standard items. No mana regen on him, though. Here, Kiki up top. Pretty normal. Ends up starting with a Ring of Protection. So that'll be able to be used for a quick Basilius Ring or as necessary Tranquil Boots if he's forced into it, but don't expect as much. As that offlane is intending to be a... oh no, he sent the Treant up there, so he may join up in lane realizing that it will be 1v1. However, he has gone for the Basilius Ring and Clarity, so no regen on him. Bottle Rush build on the Dark Seer. Same on the Puck. Mentioning in the draft, once in a blue moon, well here it is. Dark Seer going to be headed in toward mid. The defensive tri-lane here is Alchemist, Lena, Rubik, and I find that tri-lane more dangerous. This is a very... I have never seen a tri-lane quite like this one coming out of Well Played. They can make it work, but it's very tricky. At level 1, Normally you want Riptide on Naga, but that means they have 0 lockdown. All they have is Cold Feet, which they can't actually land because they have nothing to force them to stay and get frozen. Level 2, it gets a bit better. They'll have, or if they go level 1 to Snare, then they don't have the minus armor burst from Riptide. But they can follow up with Cold Feet. Whirling Death gives a bit of burst as well, but I don't think that's enough to kill anyone. Level 2, you've got more burst, and it's much better. If you lock someone down with both Ensnare and Cold Feet, then the burst between Whirling Death and the Timber Chain, along with the damage from Cold Feet and the Riptide, that could be enough. But you have to get in close a bit for Riptide before Illusions. Melee, of course, on the Timbersaw, and Timbersaw's a little vulnerable early on. You see, one rounded 0 physical armor. I forget the exact number. So without that reactive armor, he's pretty vulnerable. You compare that with the Tri-Lane on the opposite side. You have Telekinesis, Light Strike Array, Unstable Concoction. Easy to chain together and does a lot of damage and is available from level 1. This is going to be very tricky, and the other thing is there's 2 ways to look at an aggressive Tri-Lane. One would be Shutdown. You know, you're up against Anti-Mage, Faceless Void, Alchemist in this case, where you just don't want them free farming. Okay. It's not terrible if you don't get kills, but you just really limit the farm. But there's not a whole lot of options here. Really, you're reliant on Chilling Touch, you see, because you throw that and you get a lot of harass, but you don't. You've got 2 melee heroes here, and Chilling Touch not skilled for understandable reasons given that fact. So I'm not sure. There's a lot of options. It's actually the Courier. Oh man, I get distracted, and then we have a First Blood in mid. As I heard the Courier get killed. Where was that happening? Okay, that was the Dire Courier. It sounded like it said Radiant. That's what confused me. My bad there. But First Blood goes the way of well played at the cost of their Courier. With that, right now, we have Kirkiki getting the best of the CS in lane. Oh, there's a snare. Light Striker Ray does hit on Richard Nixon Assassin. Teal Tonic takes some burst, but Nix in a lot of danger. He gets brought down, and that evens up the score. Not a First Blood, but it helps out. Meanwhile, up top, at the same time, the rotation for Bad Fetus sets up a kill for Kirkiki, and they're able to bring down that Nature's Prophet. Typhoon, again, no regen up front, so he may have been harassed down a little bit. We got tied up down bottom with all the action going there. 2-1 the score right now for well played. They lost one so far, but they gotta be happy with the start. First Blood, and still maintain that kill lead. In fact, one going to their carry up top, who's leading the board in CS. Silva looking to get a little more, but just finding whatever he can at the moment. Two points in Concoction, 1 in Grievel's Greed already, though, so kind of going the in-between. A little safe with the Concoction, but not going all into aggression with getting a point in Acid Spray. You see the items building up on Bad Fetus right now as that Courier's down. Timer on that right now is 30 seconds to go. camp is blocked, but there really haven't been attempts to pull or deward, so nothing spent on that. But it also means that that not happening makes not getting kills here for the aggressive tri-lane okay. There's a lift up. Light Striker Ray follow-up. Concoction charging. Takes a ton of damage there, and they do bring down the Ancient Apparition, but can't still get out of there. Takes a lot of damage. Light Striker Ray hits on both, and they'll get out just fine. Underx the victim, and suddenly this lane gets a whole lot tougher. If you're trading kills, it's okay, but now starting to pull ahead, and you see the amount of damage they can put out. And just catch the tail end of that. Another kill up top for Kirkiki. And then it will be interesting to see the dynamic. The tri-lane not working out at this point for well played, but their top lane dominant. Kirkiki getting the everything he could hope for as a start in the top. In mid, Kirkiki, in mid, the puck getting a little low. Banan taking plenty of harass here. Is bottle crowing at the moment, just coming back out now. Typhoon should be relegated now to jungling, and there he goes. Can no longer contest up top. Often you'll see in 1v1 matchups, the Nature's Prophet actually rush Phase Boots and then Midas. It sounds backwards and something that you normally hear people complain about when you say, oh, these pub players are awful. He got boots before Midas, but in specifically to Nature's Prophet, he's the hero that mines the least in getting a later Midas, and the Phase Boots helps him win and contest and win the lane. You'll see that most often when you have a Nature's Prophet, particularly up against a Life Stealer, when that 1v1 matchup pops up once in a while. Invis on Bad Fetus as he rotates in to try and help turn this aggressive tri-lane around. 3 points in vacuum. Looking to find his spot. But Banan is there. Moves through. Dream Coil hits on two. The Dragon Slave over top. Able to bring him down, but Ion Shield doing a ton of damage. Able to bring down the Lina and snare out on Silva. Charging up now. He's in trouble. Does get it off. He's down to 24 health and will get away the surge away from the tower. But Tealtonic there. Fade Bolt right click gets him. Up higher. Typhoon getting low. Cold Feet stops him. Banan's still going, but slowed by the Ice Vortex. Out of all of that, we lost Arch. Did Raiders of the Lost Slark, but they picked up Bad Fetus. They picked up Underix. And I didn't see what happened to Richard Nixon Assassin. Yes, he did go down in that as well. He was dream coiled. The difference maker right now for well played again is that top lane. Kirkiki having his run of the land. Bad Fetus getting aggressive again. Diving past the tower. Out of mana is Banan. Whirling Death out on Arch. Just a little harass. No committal there. In towards mid. Vacuum back. Bad Fetus. Surging in. Continuing to chase on Banan. Right click. Can he continue to get there? Down to 8 health. Does bring him down with the Ion Shell. Light Striker Ray misses. Dragon Slave does hit, but it won't be enough. Only level 4 right now. No burst available. Now turning this around. Ion Shell down. The double damage is up. That's actually very hard to see on Darkseer.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Typhoon comes up top. Actually ended up going Treads. Did not get his Hand of Midas. We have returned down bottom, but Arch still hanging around mid for the time being. 5-5 the score currently. And this is a really hard one to, again, describe about who's ahead here because Kirkiki is doing so well. But Raiders of the Lost Slark have made up for it in a couple other places. With that in mind, I do think Well Played is in the slightly better position as we have an Invis activated by Bad Fetus. Lift up on Soldaku. Light Striker Raid misses. And Snare does not get cast. Saw the animation start. Vacuum hits on no one. The Concoction hits on Underix, gets low, but that's a suicide dive there for Silva. Well Played, going to be happy with that trade, but in comes Typhoon. Sprout not the most effective against the Timber Saw. Nyx does go down. Bad Fetus chasing down on Teal Tonic. Can he catch up? Surge. Timber Chain away. Will he get away? Light Striker Ray trying to turn this around. Telekinesis up. Holding him back. Vacuum finishes him off. But Bad Fetus will pay with the Concoction. Silva gets the last hit as he rejoins the fight. Down goes the Nature's Prophet. Arch now goes down. Silva in a lot of trouble. Rocket Barrage doing a ton of damage as Kirkiki joins the fight. Silva running behind the tower, winding up the Concoction, turns it around. One more right click, down goes Kirkiki in that. Cold feet on, but not enough. Silva has healed up a bit, but not willing to commit. Charging up once again, very low thanks to that Whirling Death. A Concoction brings him down along with the Fade Bolt, but gets brought down by a right click from Underix. Light Striker Ray is there. Dragon Slave finishes him off. Kills every which way. Suddenly, from 5-5 to 12-10, a 7-for-5 trade. Going the way of Raiders of the Lost Slark. Kirkiki has his first casualty of the game, sitting at 2-1-2. Silva dies twice, but finds himself some kills as well. 3-2-6 on the board. Sitting right now, 4th place, 3,100 gold, but a far cry from the 4,300 on Kirkiki. But he'll be able to make that up quickly. He is Alchemist, that's what he does. Has phase boots, but now looking to be building into a Battle Fury, as he has up a Ring of Health. Unless he does something like a Vanguard, which would be a little more unorthodox. Ping going out, but under the tower, not going to be diving that. 2 in mid, diving now on Banon. The TP reaction, though, coming out of Arch. Dream Coil trying to turn this around. Dragon Slave, Light Striker Ray not used. Actually uses Laguna Blade to finish off Underix. The Telekinesis up on Bad Fetus, pulls him back into himself. No, misplay there. And that'll cost him. Bad Fetus says, thank you very much. He'll take that kill. At the same time, Kirkiki, every time I look away up top, you're picking off Typhoon. Another kill for him solo. As Silva's down bottom by himself up against Richard Nixon Assassin. And Soldaku. Ping's going out. The reward toward the rune Underix is there. Bottle Crow going on here from Banon. Bad Fetus has been controlling this middle lane, getting the runes and making things happen. Has a big boon to keep this tri-lane from being completely shut down. Up top, a little late to the party there. Typhoon brought down again. As now we have 4 headed towards Silva. He knows what's going on, hiding in the trees now. They do have vacuum, so they'll be able to clear trees. They also have ice vortex to give them some vision behind the trees if they think he's there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
As it is, they're just looking to push down this tier 1. Bad Fetus will skip the wave, hold that back to allow free reign on this tower as the next creep wave comes in. Do they know he's there? Bad Fetus, oh! He had an inkling! TP in from Typhoon. TP in. Everybody's coming in. Nyx Assassin diving, but unstable concoction hits on 2. Brings down Underix almost immediately behind the action. Bursts down. Is Richard Nixon Assassin. Bad Fetus having to surge on out of there. Tealtonic chasing telekinesis. Pull back. Concoction charging up, but the Song of the Siren going to get them out of there. And Silva explodes on his own face. Arch giving chase, but no way to catch up. And a very nice turnaround. They lose the tier 1, but they get 2 for it. (15-13), and we take a check-in at the early state of our graphs. We see well played, getting a bit of an advantage, but still anyone's game. Pings going out. Tealtonic telekinesis pulled back. And the burst from Richard Nixon Assassin along with the Ion Shell. Laguna Blade, not enough. They won. No, does go down. Ult thrown out by Underix. Now the concoction charged up by Silva along with the acid spray. Look at that damage. Half health from 1 hit. Last hit does go the way of Silva as well. Helped out by Banon, thrown out the orb. 2 for 2 there.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Haste Rune will be found here. Will Kiki take it? He will, I believe. Here he comes. Action-packed back and forth early game. BKB is done on Gyrocopter, and that will be a big difference maker. There is absolutely the only potential lockdown through magic immunity on the side of Raiders of the Lost Slark would be Rubik's stealing, ensnare, and Arch bursted down. Sprout out on Kirkiki, pulled back. Dream Coil hits on everybody. Kirkiki very low, 50 health. The call down brings down Typhoon, but not in a lot of trouble. Not enough to save you. Is that Waning Rift? And that's a double kill the way of Bad Fetus, 4 for 1. And this could be the first sign of breaking this game wide open. Tier 2 under siege. Bad Fetus will hold back the creep wave, and this should be that Tier 2 tower, the first of the game being brought down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He did not even use his BKB. Still 10 seconds to charge on that. Very nice Lotus effect on that courier. I am jelly. Bloodstone being built on Richard Nixon Assassin. Still a bit off. I wouldn't have normally recommended it in the off lane, but if they can get this burst of gold, maybe take out the remaining 2 tier 2s, and it should be at a decent clip. Typhoon, without that Midas, does limit the concern about the late game comeback potential out of Raiders of the Lost Slark. That last fight did hurt quite a bit, and you can see it on the graph, closing now on 10,000, the gold advantage. We were just looking shortly, not too long ago, we're looking around 2,500, even less. Experience goes that direction as well, but hasn't quite hit the 7,500 mark. Blink Dagger up on Bad Fetus. Already had his mechanism long done. Looks like he'll be going in for a BKB next. Double damage picked up on him. Has gotten rid of his bottle at this point. Did he sell it or hand it off? Oh, Bad Fetus. Poor supports. They could have used that bottle. Bottles are fully shareable, so you, sometimes you'll see if mids want to replace that bottle with another item, you can hand it off to a support if they're having inventory space, which can be quite nice. However, I never have inventory space. I'm a fan of cost-efficient items, so I have a lot of cheap crap in my inventory all the time. Stack. Heal. Stat. Oh. I'm disappointed when we don't get more stacks. It's just so satisfying to see, you know, a 5-stack of ancients get taken out. So much gold, so much experience, so edgy. D-Ward going out, Blink from Bad Fetus going on Arch, but gotta be careful, he does not know what's out there. Sprout goes out on Bad Fetus, just holds him back, no counter initiation. The ult coming through, will not land. So Underx not able to finish him off. Roche not being quickly brought down here. You want to be using Riptide. Riptide will do minus armor, and that's the big thing on Roshan. Ion Shell stolen. Orb through. If they want to contest, they have to go now. Down 2,000 health. But well played, actually pulling out of the pit for the moment. There's the Ice Blast. Will hit on Typhoon and Silva. Typhoon in a lot of trouble now. Will that be the impetus to go back in? Rocket Barrage on all the tree ants. They'll force those down as well. A long standoff here. Alchemist goes in for the Shadow Blade, just has the casual ring of health for the time being. Perhaps decided it was just not going to work out. This may be it. There's the telekinesis up. Not the communication, not quite there. And they're able to bring down Underx. No, he just barely survives. Call down. 2 bursted down very quickly. Everybody low, but not finished off on the side of well played. The Chakram doing a lot of damage. That's 4 down. Triple kill the way of Bad Fetus. And that will be Roshan for well played, but at least it should be. However, they're all such low health. Will be a pause as we have a lag out from Soldaku. We had the initiation coming out of Raiders of the Lost Slark. We saw the lift up on Underx, but he got pulled back out of the Light Strike array. That meant additional spells being used. The Concoction went out on him. The Laguna Blade went out on him. But between the Mech and Magic Wand, survived through it all. Survived up here after being hit by the unstable Concoction. Died later on rejoining the fight, but during all of that, the combo, the call down, the Vac Wall, doing huge damage, finished off, finally, Chakram. And damage off to the side, which wasn't able to follow completely. And that was enough. Roshan will go the way of well played. Is that the last gasp? Roche going down at 23:56. Aegis going the way of Kirkiki. Kirkiki has been building for survivability, so not a huge amount of damage on him. Not doing bad at 181 by any means, but that's very different than if he had built, say, MKB at this point. Instead of, you know, BKB, Helm of the Dominator. However, being durable is a different kind of scary. It means you can't just burst him down easily. You have to commit to that. Yukiki waiting in the wings. He's Invis. Invis running out in a couple seconds. Is he gonna go? Not able to burst him down. Call down even being used. Quite the miscalculation there. There just was not a chance to finish him. Illusory Orb sent through. No jaunt in. Telekinesis up on Richard Nick's assassin. Chakram and the Whirling Death. Laguna Blade will finish off the Timber Saw. Illusory Orb over top of 2, not doing a whole lot. Homing Missile will chase down Banan. Has to be careful, blinks away. Will be able to get back into his base and he will be able to survive. Will be able to even avoid that, as we see. Phase shift out of that damage. Richard Nixon assassin went down. Does hurt. Loses some bloodstone charges. 8 right now.
Double damage.
As it is, though, you see that advantage hitting that 10,000 mark. I really think of the 10,000 mark as not insurmountable by any means, but kind of that mark where you go, alright, we're really behind right now. If it's under 10,000, you can say, well, we're behind, but, you know, we can still win fights. 10,000, you're in quite a bit of trouble. The Raiders of the Lost Slark going to be pressed to pick it up and do something special to turn this one around. Teotonic the man to do it. Going to steal the illusions out of Naga.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Soldaku actually has a Sanj on him, so tanking up quite a bit. They don't seem quite clear how they want to approach these fights. Neither side really wants to commit. With Song of the Siren, you have the initiation. So I feel like that's what Well Played should be looking for, is that song. Vacuum Wall! And burst it down immediately as Typhoon. And that... Oh, I missed where the Rubik went down. Double kill as he brings down Arch. Does Bad Fetus. Chakram thrown over top. Silva will back out, but that's 3 down.
Radiant's bottom tower
And another tier 2. Acid spray throw and ensnare over top. Going to dive. Man is a bit low here. Richard Nixon assassin willing to go in. Last hit goes to the Timber Saw. Richard taking it. The Aegis will expire in about a minute. See, I'm right on it. Aegis timer backing me up. Net worth right now tells the story. Top 3, all the side of well played, and that's not where you want to be when you've picked an alchemist. It does Raiders of the Lost Slark being behind.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Chakram hits 2. Shadow Blade through for Silva. It gets Ion Shelled. Oh no! The BKB blocks the Laguna Blade. Flying through. Richard Nixon assassin in trouble. Does get brought down. Light Striker Ray. Kirkiki gets Typhoon. And Teal Tonic. And running back into base as the concoction explodes on himself. 2 for 1 that dive turns into. Aegis now reclaimed. So they do not have that to fall back on, and that will cause them to fall back. Banan's sitting on 3,300 gold. There's an ultimate orb. Will be going into Scythe of Ice. Dewarding coming out here from Well Played. Gem up on Underix. Kirkiki looking toward a butterfly. Buyback is available as well. No, does not have enough reliable gold though, which means if he dies, he will actually not have buyback. But not too big of a deal. Only 30 minutes in and in this commanding position. BKB 200 gold away for Silva, and we'll see if he buys out for that, and he does.
That's perfectly clear.
We start to keep an eye on buybacks as the tier 3s begin to be under siege. And right now, we've only got 2 heroes on the map with buyback. That's Banan and Richard Nixon assassin.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Light Striker Ray hit on Bad Fetus. Gets angry and throws out a vacuum. Vacuum kind of a long cooldown considering what it does. It's not as spammable as Ion Shell. 24 seconds on that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Yukiki going the stats build, opting not to get any more points in homing missile.
Dire's bottom tower
Instead getting more stats. There's the initiation. Song of the Siren walking in. Wall throwing down. Vacuum call down. Instant death. 2 down immediately. Silva in trouble. Turns around, throws the concoction, but the ensnare through the BKB. Double kill the way of Bad Fetus. 3 down. no buyback.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Actually, now it says everybody has buyback. Not sure when that changed, but there you go. Tier 3 goes down, making me look stupid. Can they save the racks? Everybody's back up. Concoction out on Kirkiki. There's the Dream Coil on, too. Kirkiki gave very low. One more hit, he goes down. And Snare up on Arch. Timber Chain through, will not finish her off. At least not yet. Bad Feet is doing work. Silva gonna chase him down. Behind the scenes, trying to chase down on Arch. Chakram, and not able to get it. Up top, Silva does finish off. And they get 4 and save the racks. It costs buyback, but they also get the gem. As Typhoon pushes up the tier 3 bottom, tier 2 was pushed down. And perhaps a bit of impatience as Roche was back up. Not going to get the Aegis again. Trying to push in. They forced out quite a few buybacks, so it could have been worse. But they get 4 hold racks and get gem. That's a very big turnaround for Raiders of the Lost Slark. We'll still see a big advantage on the way well played, but we'll see the graph come back up just a bit. And that's a pretty big start. Silva, Hyperstone on him. Looking for Assault Queer-Offs in all likelihood. Pings go out. Captain saying, we need Roche. We just saw it. Let's do it. Let's get him while we can. Chemical Rage perhaps at an inopportune time. They will need to fight. The cooldown, very small considering the duration of Chemical Rage, but the timing may be a little tight for that. They need to go now. As the Initiation Richard Nixon Assassin going, are they going on him or are they going towards Russ? They're going on him. They're taking the bait. And during this time, Roche will be brought down. As there's no way to catch Richard Nixon Assassin anyway. They have no idea. And there it is at 36 minutes. Roshan, second time down. Third one will be the cheese. The gem is up on Banan. The Sanj has become a Heaven's Halberd on Soldaku. A lot of disable for him now. Ensnare, along with the Disarm from Heaven's Halberd. Typhoon slowly catching his way back up with the split push. Has his ultimate orb, still a ways away from his Scythe of Ice. But if he can get to that, that will be a big boon. Take another look at net worth once again. It is still top 3 going the way of well played. Alchemist still leading his team right below them. Support's looking comparable. It's the 3 cores that are the issue.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Normally I would confidently give the late game edge to Raiders of the Lost Slark if they can draw it out and make a bit of a comeback, but with the start that Typhoon had and opting not to go Midas because of that start, it's much tougher to have that huge late game presence that a Nature's Prophet would otherwise bring. Often a reasonable decision given how tough he had it. It's just the impact can start to be felt now. Tier 3 once again going down. Can they fight this? Will they fight this? Barracks are being targeted. No initiation yet. There we go. Dream Coil on 4. BKB instantly activated by Kirkiki. Called down to turn it around. BKB used by Silva, but he takes a ton of damage and has to immediately back out. And not able to deter this at all as Typhoon joins the fight. They are able to bring down Underix, but at the cost of that melee Rax. Now here comes Kirkiki. Double kill the way of him. Banon now being targeted. Disarm out on Typhoon. Banon, look out! Waning Rift will get away. Can they bring down Kirkiki? Concoction now off a cooldown, but won't need it. Right click is there. They get the Aegis popped. But he will be coming right back up. Concoction on the way. BKB up in 15 seconds now. No help. And Silva just backs off, turns his attention to Richard Nixon Assassin. One more right click, there we go. He does get the kill, but up top, the Rax there goes down as well as 2 down, and that may just be too much for the Raiders of the Lost Slark to turn around. Bad Fetus will TP home, heal up, get his mana back, and be satisfied with a job well done. Comes home with 2 barracks in tow, and a resounding 14,000 gold lead, 10,000 experience lead, and a fresh new Reaver up on Kirkiki. In fact, that is a full Satanic. Buys out for that, but that is one item that is very often, especially on Gyrocopter, worth doing it because it's like a free life. Get low, pop it, right click, and you're full health once again. Assault Cuirass is now done on Silva, but maybe too little too late. This is a lot to come back from, especially when you're already this far behind. We'll see what they plan to do. This is a situation in which I start thinking Rapier. The difficulty is no one really close. Going to be very reliant on that Grievel's Greed to build up a lot of gold very fast, even winning a fight. That's where I see the turnaround potential now. Silva, if they can find a team fight, pick up some gold, get some farm, and then Rapier. Underix initiated on Song of the Siren to get him out. The turnaround call down doesn't do damage because of it, though. Richard Nixon Assassin behind the action, taking out the supports. Well, Kirkiki does work, and now Silva will be brought down. No buyback there. Triple kill the way of Richard Nixon Assassin. 4 for 1. And now they'll call it GG. And well played, going to take game 1 in fine fashion. An action-packed early game with plenty of back and forth. But well played comes out on top with the big early game wins out of Kirkiki. And riding that to victory. Game 1 the way of well played. Game 2 will be coming up shortly.